man.
Here we go. Hey, what's up? What's up, Facebook? This is Troy McKnight coming at you from Dallas, Texas. I hope you guys having an awesome freaking Wednesday. I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. I got my friend Robert here. Robert is an entrepreneur. He coming on with me today. We're going to talk about, how he got involved in the industry. But not only that, the way we do it, we want to inspire some other people to get involved in the industry. And if they're not involved in the industry, if they is involved in the industry, we want to inspire them to go after their dreams and goals with everything they got. So Robert, take it away, man. So how long you been in the industry of entrepreneurship?
Man, Troy, thank you for that. I tell you, I've been in 10 years, but I've been a wishy-washy 10 years. All right. And I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit here. But man, I've been in different companies altogether. Some were a good fit. Some were just to help a friend out or whatnot. But I think I've landed into something that has motivated me. Right. And that's what I tell people is, man, my biggest catchphrase is I'll believe in you until you can believe in you. Because I want to change the world, man. I don't want to just change one life. I don't want to just change a couple of families. I want to impact the nation, man. Real talk.
That's powerful with it itself, Robert. And like I said, we don't name no companies, but I know the company you in. It's a proven company. It's been around for years. We look at it as a legend company. I know you working directly with some of the top leaders in that company. And I know for a fact, you're going to be able to make an impact on a lot of people's lives. Myself, I actually been in the industry for 18 years. I've been in 4 different companies. First company, me and my wife did very well. Second company, we did okay. We stayed in it 8 years. And the third company, we got in it to actually learn how to create the right environment and right culture. People ask me all the time, Robert, Troy, why do you do these Facebook Lives? Why do you bring these different people on that's in different companies? And the reason why I do that, Robert, because I truly got a heart for helping people. Because you know what I have might not be, which I know is not for everybody. Right. What you have is not for everybody. But if it's people out there looking, if we come together, man, we can make an impact on a lot of people's lives. And before we go on, if you're not connected with Robert, if you're not following this rock star on Facebook, you most definitely want to follow him on Facebook. You might want to look him up on Instagram. As we go on with this conversation, if you got a message, just DM Robert. Just hit him in Messenger. He most definitely hit you back. So Robert, 10 years, man. So tell me a little about the journey when you first got involved.
Ooh, man. I'm glad you asked. Okay, so 10 years ago, I was working. I had a job, man, a just over broke business, right? Working for somebody that told me what time I had to go in, what time I could come out. Okay. But I sat there, man, and I'm going to take it back to the most humbling moment of my life at that time. I had 3 bags of ramen noodles in my pantry. Okay. And I had 2 weeks before they were cutting my electric bill. And I sat there, man, and at that time, man, I was reading my Bible every day. I was what I thought was faithful to the Lord, and I sat there and I was crying out, man. 3 days I rationed it out. 3 bags of ramen noodles. I started crying. I said, man, Lord, I got 3 days worth of food left. I got 5 days before I get paid. That means 2 days I'm going to go just watching people and just be like, hey, all is good. Because at the time I had 2 different jobs. I was working as a meat cutter, and then I was working as a service provider with cell phones and whatnot. So sometimes I was, in my cutting gear, full of blood and whatnot at cutting meat. And then other times you saw Robert in a tie, like, hey, let me sell you a phone,
Yeah.
And man, in the darkest of where nobody saw, I'm crying out like, man, that's all I got left. I got 3 days of food left. I'm going to make this, And it was really weird, Troy, because the coolest voice happened. And I can't tell you it was God or audible, but I heard, if the birds in the field don't worry about the food they eat, then why do you? Man, I started jumping up because it was a cold chill. And man, I was like, I heard this. And I jumped around my house, my apartment. I'm like, man, you know what? God's going to provide. God's going to provide. Sure enough, man. The ride got crazy interesting from there, okay? The very next day, somebody called me, a friend of mine called me up, said, hey, man, let's go to lunch. I'm like, dude, I got $3 in my pocket, man. No, I'm good. He said, no, that's not what I asked you. I said, let's go to lunch. And from that moment, I've not missed a meal. Okay? Wow. Amazing. Locked arm with an amazing rock star, said, man, I can move. I can help you. We can get you out of this, right? So I'm like, man, my first network marketing company, dude, I'm going to conventions and I'm getting lit up and I'm like, woo. What knocked me down was a phone call I was not supposed to hear. The upline called him. I was on the phone with him and he said, hey, man, I'll tell you what, bro, that guy you're carrying with you, I'd cut him. he's nothing but dead weight.
Wow.
Dude, for somebody that was whoa in conventions and trying to make it happen, what I learned about me then was I spit everything out about that company, that it was too much information for people. So rule number one, don't tell people too much, right? Because you're pushing them away. You seem like you're desperate for that sale that they're like, calm down, I'll take a look at it. So rule number one, don't be so desperate, right?
Right.
Rule number two, have a reason why. Dude, I quit that company altogether. I was like, no, I'm done. If that person don't believe in me but can be on a phone call, be like, oh, Robert's the best thing since sliced bread, you're not being real with me. You know what I mean? So I walked away from that, went back to a job again. A couple of years later, find this beautiful lady, end up getting married to her. She becomes a rock star, dude, in this health and supplement industry, becomes a rock star, amazing woman, right? She said, look, I'm going to match you dollar for dollar. So I'm working from 7 a.m., first one in, till 9 o'clock at night, last one out, making sure everybody in the crew is home safe, right? She matches me. I'm doing videos on Facebook, man. I'm getting excited for her company. I'm like, man, this is cool. This is awesome. My company, man, my job, that I became a 2-time 5-star award winner, calls me up and says, hey, can we have a meeting with you? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? They pull me in the office the next morning and say, look, man, you've been with us 5 years. I'm like, yeah. Look, you did a video on Facebook last night. Yeah. Were you on our clock? Man, I was getting gas, right? I was at a gas station getting gas, doing a video like, man, come to my house. We're going to do a bad event. Let's go. They said, man, you got to decide. You either want to work with us,
wow,
or you're going to do for her. And I was like, y'all don't understand. Like, man, it was, but by this point in time, my wife had met me dollar for dollar. And she'd been like, babe, just quit. Let's get this, man. Let's do this. Right. That when they presented me with that opportunity, I was like, cool. I'm stepping out in faith. Then I tell you what, here's my 2 weeks. Rule number 2 that I can give you, man, is when it's your time, jump. Okay. Because she met me dollar for dollar. She doubled my dollar. She tripled my dollar. My daughter is 7 years old. By the time she was 5, she'd been to 23 different states, 32 different hotels. And every time we went to a hotel, she'd look at it and be like, Dad, is this my big house? Right?
Right. Something
that I never thought I'd ever be able to do. I was blessed. Something I never thought I'd be able to see is people in different states and come up and love on you and be like, man, I watched your video. I watched your live. They were blessing me. Right? So when you jump in faith, because the coolest part behind that is God's already got you. He's been waiting for you to step out into what you're supposed to do. All that time, dude, 5 years later, 5 years goes in. Here I am. All of a sudden, I'm following the freight train, man. He's doing videos. He's doing, positive momentum and motivational things. And I'm like, man, that's me. That's who I am. I'm certified in this. You know what I mean? I got certificates in motivation and stuff. And I reached out to him. I said, dude, what are you doing? He said, man, come meet my friends. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of cool, because you don't hear somebody in the industry say, come meet my friends. They want to spit verbiage out at you. The third thing I can say is connect with like-minded individuals that have a purpose and have a goal. Because, man, when you can do that, the sky's the limit, right? Because you don't have that limiting belief. So like I said, when we connected, me, you, and Jimmy, that one time on Instagram, man.
We did Clubhouse. I mean, I saw you. We talked on Clubhouse a few times, but we connected all the way on Instagram.
Yes, sir. And I live by that, what I said, man. I can, I will, but I must. And the I must is really, really important to me, because I've got 2 little girls that are sitting there saying, man, what's dad doing? Right? Man, what are we going to do? And I never want my little girls to ever look back and say, Dad, are we going to be able to eat tomorrow? Right? That's what keeps me humble, is I never get bigger than where I ever got, but I'm thankful for the friends and the connections God's brought.
You know what, Robert, I mean, you hit some key factors, man. When you talked about the environment, your friends, the culture, because that plays a key part to being able to create any level of success. Just think about it. In that first company, they doubted you, and look at you now. You know what I'm saying? You just didn't know. All you needed was the right mentor, the right person to come in your life and show you the way that it's supposed to be done. Absolutely. And then you got that. And, you know, for them, that was a liking on their part. And that's one of the biggest challenges a lot of people have in the industry. They don't understand that if a person never did anything like this, they need somebody to teach them the right way, where they don't go out and throw up on everybody. I remember when I first got in the industry, man, I was so excited and I was telling people they was going to be rich and stuff like that. And I was going crazy, but I was lucky because I always had influence back then. Right. So me and my wife did very well. And the gentleman I was working with played for the Dallas Cowboys at the time. You know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of other football players. So people just wanted to be around that energy. But when I got in my second company, I started realizing, and I stayed in that company 8 years. I started realizing I had to learn the skills. You know, not to throw up on people, ask people the right questions and stuff like that. Try to, you know, whatever their goal was. If they only want to make $500 a month, work with them to make $500 a month. Don't tell them they're going to be a millionaire or no crap like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So again, I mean, for you, I mean, if I hope whoever looking at this, hope you guys took notes what Robert just gave you, because he just gave you some critical points in being able to create success in this industry, this great industry of network marketing. And like I said, if you're looking for a leader, you're looking for somebody that's, you know, been around the game for 10 years, you most definitely want to reach out to Robert. You know what I'm saying? Shoot him a message, because you never know what he have could be for you, him and his team. You know, like he said, one of the key factors he brought to point, he said, come and meet my friends. That's what Jimmy always say, right? So what he's saying is, when he mean come and meet my friends, it's a culture. It's people moving in the same direction, and it's people there to help each other reach whatever goal they're trying to go after. That's powerful, Robert. I'm telling you, within itself.
Oh man, thank you. And that's the thing that I've learned. I mean, it's no longer spitting it at people. It's no longer, it's now a curiosity thing, is because for me, the biggest passion that I have is to motivate people, man, is to motivate somebody to believe in themselves, because we've been beat down. We've been beat down not only by the world, but by family, by life itself, man. Life ain't pretty at all times. But the coolest part about it is when you rise to a mountaintop, you don't have to go mountaintop, valley, mountaintop, valley. Now all of a sudden you go mountaintop, mountaintop, you know what I mean? And it's a beautiful picture, because now you can reach back and bring like-minded individuals with you and say, man, look at what we can get to see in this life.
I mean, that's powerful within itself, Robert. Just like the post. I don't know if you saw the post that I shared earlier, and it was basically talking about somebody shared something with you. Now it's time for you to go out and share it with the world, or share it with somebody else, because that's what makes this industry so unique. That, you know, somebody can share something with us and we can go share it out with somebody else, and that can actually literally change that person's life. And that can be changing a person's life from making an extra $500 a month, or that could be changing a person's life to actually going full time and building a big business. But the unique thing about what we do, Robert, and why I get so excited and passionate about what we do is because it doesn't work if we don't change lives.
Right. Go ahead.
And that you can actually share this business with somebody and they can make more money than you.
Right.
You can't do that on the job. You never gonna make as much as the owner of that company. It's impossible.
You're so right. And the thing is like you said, they can make 500 or they can make the sky's the limit. When I'm talking to somebody, that's my question is, how much money do you want to make? And how much time do you want me to invest in you? Right? Because there's some people that want you to hold their hand and walk it every single day. There's others that are like, hey, reach out to me once a week and I'm good. Let me run. But it's individual base, right? I can't come to Troy and be like, man, Troy, come on, let's do this, Troy, let's go. You're going to be like, wait, you're too much energy for me, man. Calm down and I'm done. You know what I mean? But Troy can come to somebody and be like, hey, man, how much time do you want me to lock arms with you with? Because you know what? I have enough time that we're going to grow you. And all of a sudden people are like, oh, man, they want to invest in me. And that's the whole scheme of this thing is network marketing can be just that. I love how you said it, because you're not telling your business as far as what business it in, but you are saying, I'm doing something amazing I'd love for you to be a part of.
That's powerful. And I give you a prime example, what you just said about going where people are at. You know, my son actually joined the business probably about 2 months ago. I mean, he crushing it. Team probably got about 40-something people on it now. He went back to school to Arkansas. He left on Saturday and I already recruited some people down in Arkansas. It's so awesome. Funny, but, he called me and he said, Dad, I got it. I was like, what do you got? He said, I know not to push people. So I said, what do you mean by that? He said, so like when I get somebody started, I try to find out why they doing it. what do they want? Because I know it's bigger than money. And I said, okay, explain it to me. He said, so if I'm talking to somebody and they say, man, I want to be able to take better vacations with my mom. I want to be able to do this with my dad. And I want to do that, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, oh, cool. And I said, how did that work? He said, so, I give them a plan of action, what to do. And he said, then I don't push them to do it. If they do it, they do it. But if they don't do it, I'll call them and I'll be like, hey, Robert, hey, man, I know you said you want to do this for your mom and your dad. You want to help them take trips and stuff. But in order to make that become a reality, you got to take the action. And he said, what I'm doing, Dad, I'm throwing back in their face what they told me they wanted.
Well, that's good.
And I told him, and I started laughing. And I said, yeah, because I said, a lot of times, I remember one of my first mentors said he would not even sign a person in network marketing. He wouldn't team up with a person unless he knew their why, because he knew that it was going to be challenging times. And when it got hard, he can always say, hey, Robert, man, I know you said you got 2 daughters and, your main goal for building your business was to be able to pay for them to go to college where they'll come out of college debt free, and if that's the case, you got to keep working. You see that?
Absolutely.
And I was so, I think a lot of people miss that point because me and you both know, Robert, you've been around this 10 years and I've been around it over 18. That it's going to be some adversity, it's going to be some challenges, there's going to be some, hard times. And it's going to even be times when you look at, being around it. I mean, you've been in several companies, I've been in several companies. It's going to be decisions sometimes you're going to have to make to actually move to a whole nother company. But that don't mean you give up on your dreams or goals. And that's for whoever I'm talking to out there. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. But I'm just saying that if you're involved in something and it's not working, it's not working. So you might want to seek someplace else. Because one thing that I know for a fact, the most valuable thing that we have is time. We can never get the time back. You can always make money. You can team up with Robert. Robert can teach you the skills, or I can teach you the skills on how to build a business, right? And then you have to be able to put in the work. But it's got to be a combination of you learning the skills, the right culture, and then you taking action, because you can know the skills and it could still be something holding you back. We talked about that. I was talking to Lisa not too long ago, Robert, and I was telling her, I said, man, there's so many people that I've came across and so many people I worked with over these past 18 years that had it. They knew exactly what to do, but they just didn't do it. And what it is when I got to thinking about it, and I read a lot, just like you, Robert, it's something that happened to them when they was a kid.
Yes, sir.
And until they address that, they're not going to be able to move forward. I give you a prime example like myself. I mean, you heard some of my story. I grew up, I was dyslexic, right? So that means I struggled reading and stuff in school. I used to get headaches and stuff. My friend them thought I was slow. They used to laugh at me. I was really shy, right? But until I was able to address that point that, like, you know what? I just learned a little different. You know what I'm saying? I got greatness in me. God put something in me me to go share my story with other people, right?
Yes.
Well, over a year and a half ago, almost 2 years, I wouldn't have been doing videos because it was like, man, I remember being in school, friends laughing at me and stuff because I couldn't answer a question or a teacher asked me to read something. And I didn't know what the word was, right? But now I read like, 2 or 3 books a month. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy. But back then, that stopped me from growing my business as fast as I wanted to grow it because I was so afraid of getting uncomfortable and other people judging me and laughing at me about a situation that happened to me when I was a kid. So what I do, Robert, and I'm pretty sure you do it too, I try to take people back to their situations from when they was a kid. If I see success, somebody could be great, and try to figure out what was that point that's stopping them. And until they address that, man, I don't care what company they're involved in. I don't care what they're doing. They're not going to be able to reach a huge level of success. And it's something else, Robert. I'm going to let you speak. It's called a temperature, a thermostat. I heard it from my friend Justin the first time, and then I heard it at I heard E.T. E.T. the motivational speaker.
Yes, sir.
I went to an event. I heard him speak this past Friday, and that's what he was talking about. This thermostat, right? This income thermostat. You know what I'm saying? So if you're used to making $1,000 a month, and all your friends around you making $1,000 a month, guess what? You ain't gonna never get past $1,000 a month. Right. If you want to break that thermostat, you're gonna have to get around some people that's making a whole lot more money than you. Give you a prime example. When I was an electrician, I was making real good money, right? And then I got around my friend George, them was in the NFL and some more network marketers that was making millions of dollars a year, right? And then, they was taking me to these different houses and we was riding in limousines and we was going to events and experiencing different parts of the country, right? So that raised my thermostat. So because I had to position myself around people that thought different. But not only that, you got to raise that hunger thermostat too. You got to get around people like Robert. You got to get around people hungry. You got to get see Robert, guys. I already know Robert. If it's time for Robert to hit another rank, or somebody on his team is right there about to hit another rank, Robert is willing to stay up all freaking night to make that happen. And that's the kind of hunger you got to have to be able to create success in any type of business, but especially in this business, because your team got to know that you're going to be there for them every step of the way. What you got, Robert?
Man, you're absolutely right. Absolutely. And that's the thing that's joyful, right? It's not anything about Robert, right? I'm a bald-headed, good-looking Mexican. That's the best I'm going to get because that's what God put. But it's the people that have connected with me, right? I don't call them downline. I don't call them this and that. I call them my business partners because every day my hustle is for them. If they can't make a phone call, you know what? Give me that number. I'm going to make a phone call for you, right? And that's what it is. It's building each other up, getting each other to that point. Because when you said about your son, that your son gives them their why back, that's the most important thing that we got to put in front of us, right? If you forget your why, you're literally forgetting why you even began what you were, your path. You know, Ed Milet and Les Brown, two awesome speakers, two awesome motivational guys. But Ed said this that, man, just hit me here and it stays here. He said, the day I die and God shows me the man I was supposed to be here on this earth, I want to shake hands with the same guy that was walking the earth. I don't want it to be somebody different that I could have, should have, would have been. That one's strong. Les Brown says this: on the day of your deathbed, every hope, dream, book, everything that you were supposed to bring to this earth is on there and saying to you, I have to die with you because the only one that was going to birth me was you. I was supposed to come through you and be amazing for you. And now we all die together. Man, personally, I don't want to die like that, right? Me and you were talking about the glass filling and flowing over. And I showed you tilt that glass and there's more pouring in because there's more pouring out. That's how I want to live every day, is because you know what? There's somebody out there that's hungry, somebody out there that's looking for a reason, somebody out there that wants more, just doesn't know how. And that's the thing is, we, especially you, because man, I love your lives, I love your videos, but we were put on this earth to motivate, to build, to edify, and to see others succeed.
I mean, and Robert, you hit a couple of like key points there. And then one of them is because we're in the industry of network marketing. And, you know, one thing that I took completely out of my vocabulary years ago was downline. Because one of my mentors, you know, she brought it to, you know, my attention at a training. She's like, who want to be down?
Right.
You know, just use business partners, because we are all business partners. They don't work for us. They ain't under us, because if they was our downline, that mean they can never pass us. So you can actually bring somebody, like I said, in here, and they can work harder than you or have more connections and actually make more money than you. You hit another factor, Les Brown. I mean, who want to die with everything, with their stories inside of them? You know what I'm saying? You want to leave an impact on this world. You know, I was listening to something today. Lisa was listening to this morning. She always wake up and have motivational stuff planned. And I was actually freaking trying to get another 30 minutes of sleep. And she had some stuff planned in the background. It was so funny. But, you know, this person, it was E.T. talking about all these companies, you know, like they last name, right? You know, he was naming companies that's big, you know, Fortune 200, 500 companies that's named after their last name, right? Like Ford and a whole bunch of other. He was like, why not you be striving to name your company, you know, have a company, your company you build after you gone, they said McKnight, or, you know, whatever, you know, why not play that big? Why play so small? Or why not when we pass away, and when people come to our funeral and they be like, man, that Robert, if I wouldn't have met Robert, man, he changed my life. You know what I'm saying? Or if I met Troy, he changed my life. And I'm talking about not like 5 or 6 people. I'm talking about thousands of people saying that this gentleman right here freaking changed my life. Like, you don't think people said that about Jim Rome? I was actually reading about him the other day. Jim Rome changed and touched a lot of people, man. He ain't even here no more. And he's still changing people's lives. And that's what we're talking about, playing at that type of level. So I'm challenging anybody that's in the network marketing industry, man, play big, stop playing small. If you actually looking to get involved in the online space, home business space, make sure you reach out to Robert or myself. You know what I'm saying? Or if you maybe got it, you know, maybe you was in the game and maybe you frustrated. Maybe things ain't working where you at. Maybe you're looking for a new company. Most definitely reach out to Robert or myself. It's no guarantee that we're going to have what are you looking for. And one of the things that I see most people that factor is, it's never the company, it's the person. You're just not the right person yet. You know what I'm saying? So just don't, you might be in a company, you might be struggling a little bit. I'm not trying to take you, and Robert not trying to take you, but you got to remember, you got to work on yourself. You got to keep growing, because if you want to make $100,000 a year and you used to making $20,000 a year, you got to be a completely different person. If you want to make $1 million a year and you making $100,000 a year, you can't be that same $100,000 person. All of this change. You got to change as a person. As you change, your income gonna change. And that's crazy, Robert, because we're in with this. It's so many people, and I know it happens to you too. They say they want to make big money, they want to make an impact, right? And then you ask them, what book are you reading?
They look at you like, huh?
When was the last event you was at? I mean, what are you listening to? What are you feeding this? You know, the closest people around you, how much money are they making? So close it out, Robert. What you got for us?
Man, you're hitting the head right, man. It's perfect. And it's just that we're not looking to take anybody. We're looking to raise everybody. That in itself is the game plan of the direction we have. You've been in the business, you done said, over 18 years. It's not for you to say, hey, I want everybody, let's go, let's go, let's go. You want everybody, let's grow, let's grow, let's grow. So Troy, I love what you're doing, man. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. It's been an honor and a pleasure. And man, anytime, I'm telling you, you're welcome to do anything with me, man. Anything as far as motivation, anything you've got, just hit me up, because man, I love your energy. I love what you're doing in this space, and I'm proud of you, man. Thank you for all that you do.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. I mean, thanks for taking out the time doing this today. And me, you, and Jimmy, we'll do one together pretty soon, brother. And with that, guys, God bless. And hey, man, you truly, like Les Brown say, you got greatness within you. So let's go out here and let's change the world. With that, God bless, and you guys have a great evening. Thanks, Robert.